Hello, I'm Rebekah Ricks. I'm here at the Homeschool Connection, and we have our show, What's Your Brew? And a brew is a mixture of people, events, or things that come together to form a more potent whole. And today we're doing our special Friday edition called What's an Extra Shot of Espresso. So sometimes on Fridays especially, you need an extra shot of espresso. And I know I sure do. And today we have a couple things to celebrate. It's Groundhog's Day. Happy Groundhog's Day. I always used to love Groundhog's Day growing up. I don't know why it was a big deal, but my mom we always talked about, maybe it's because I lived up north in upstate New York, and we'd always look to see. So apparently 6 more weeks of winter, guys. And also it is Red Dress Day, which means for cancer or heart disease, and I have a very close friend that had open heart surgery almost 2 years ago, and so I'm wearing my red dress for Red Dress Day to be aware of heart disease for that. But today our verse of the day is Psalms 55:22, and it says, "Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved." So I'm going to read that again. It says, "Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved." And so when I think about that, I think about, it says, "Cast thy burden." And the first thing that comes to mind is a burden. What is a burden? Well, a burden is a load, a heavy load, something that we have to carry. An especially heavy load is a burden. Sometimes we talk about burdens. There's physical burdens or spiritual burdens or emotional burdens, or we can have all kinds of burdens. Sometimes on Friday mornings is when the burdens all come crashing down, and I feel like I know about my burdens more because I'm so much more tired, which is not grammatically correct, but that's exactly how I feel. When you're tired and your body starts getting worn down, those burdens feel heavier, whether they're something or burdens for someone else. But the Bible says, "Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee." And I had to look up and see what sustain meant. And it says to strengthen or support mentally or physically. Well, man, if you think about that, not just physically support us, if you have health problems, we had a staff meeting this morning, and we kind of went around and told about the things we need. But man, a physical problem will suck your will to live. Think about now, the flu's going around and everyone is getting the flu, and that's so horrible, and that people are even dying from it. But even when your family's sick, that really sucks your will to live. But the Bible says he will sustain thee. He supports you physically or mentally. And I think that's the biggest thing as women. Sometimes we just get mentally tired. On Friday mornings, we need our extra shot of espresso because we're mentally tired. We're physically tired. If you've been sick, if you've had sickness in your family, the Bible says he will sustain thee. And then the rest of the verse says, he shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Never. And I was thinking, what does that really mean? He'll never suffer the righteous to be moved. Sometimes, I was thinking of a tree. Down here we have hurricanes and storms that come through, and those trees will move. I mean, they will sway back and forth. The boughs of it'll be moved. It'll sway back and forth. But you know what? There's a lot of the trees, they don't get torn up by the roots. Sometimes we'll have storms that come through and we'll move, like sway back and forth, but the Bible says he'll never suffer the righteous to be moved. We're rooted. He's not going to uproot us and pull us up. It's not like that. We're going to be able to stand firm in what they do. Many people have, if you think about your life, there have been many times in our lives when we felt like we were trying to be moved and we could stand firm. The Bible talks in Psalms 1, like a tree planted by the rivers of water. He never will. He'll be like pillars. The godly stand immovable. Just like God says he'll take us and he puts us in our hand and he buries us in our fist and he holds us, and you can't get it out of the hand of God. I feel like that's what he's saying when he can't be moved. She'll never suffer the righteous to be moved. Isn't that just how God is for us. He sustains us. And it goes on to say he's not just going to sustain us. He's not just going to support us. He's going to make sure we're not moved, that we can't be pulled up. And so I think about, so many people. I have a burden right now. I have a friend who is going through some physical problems, and they have such a good attitude about it. Last year, my brother is 22, and he had cancer, and he was going through some physical problems. And I think of everyone we know, but you know what? It says he shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Man, if we can just get that in our mind, sometimes we worry so much about so many things, but he's not going to suffer us to be moved. It's just like those roots are there. We can bend a little, but we're not going to be broken because God will sustain us. So cast thy burdens upon the Lord. Think of all the things that are weighing you down, physically, emotionally, spiritually, the things that suck our will to live, the things that we worry about as women. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he'll sustain thee. He'll support us. And then it goes on to say he's not just going to support us. He'll never suffer the righteous to be moved. He'll take care of us. And hopefully that's a little bit of an extra shot of espresso, a little bit extra to give us a little bit of encouragement for this week. And for me, I thought, man, to not be moved, wow, that's a pretty great promise that he's going to be there and ground us and keep us. So hopefully that was there to help. And I'm Rebekah Ricks. We're here at the Homeschool Connection. If you'd like more information about us, it's www.thehomeschoolconnection.net. And I guess the best thing I want you to remember is, you're not alone. There are people out there, and we're here to help you in any way we can. So go drink your coffee, your extra shot, and have a great weekend.